Coming up on Buckeye TV, how will graduating students receive their diplomas in the spring?
And is picking a major really the most important decision for college? It's all next on Buckeye TV.
Camera 2.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Vincent Lucarelli.
And I'm Trinity Martin. We have a great show for you today, including the details of the graduation ceremony and how some students chose to spend their spring breaks.
Also, the return of some favorite spring sporting events and an update on the coronavirus vaccination.
With an unprecedented year, many students were wondering if an in-person commencement would occur. Bree Allenstein has more on this and how students are feeling.
With the semester ending soon, Ohio State has announced plans for an in-person commencement ceremony to occur on May 9th in the Ohio Stadium. The last time the university was able to host commencement in person was in December of 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase chairman and CEO, will deliver the commencement address, along with an Ohioan representative, a former NASA astronaut, and a Moderna co-founder. Here we have some students who are excited about the opportunity to have a ceremony.
I'm really excited because last year I had a lot of friends who were graduating, and it was really sad for me to see them not get to have an in-person ceremony. So I'm really thankful that OSU pulled together and was able to figure that out for us this year, because I think that that's a really special thing to be in the shoe and have that celebrated in person with all of my friends and family. So I'm really excited that that's able to happen this year.
In order to keep numbers down, each graduate will be allowed 2 guests to come, which can be difficult in choosing who should go.
I can definitely understand why there's only 2 of us allowed, obviously with COVID, and if we want to have everyone at graduation, there's obviously limited capacity. I think it's a little bit frustrating just because I know for a lot of students, if they have more than 2 parents, like if they have divorced parents, or if they just want to bring 3 people for whatever reason, then we just can't, and you kind of have to pick and choose who gets to come and who doesn't.
Not only will the graduates from this year be given the opportunity to celebrate in person, but graduates from all of 2020 semesters will be also given an in-person commencement on August 8th. For Buckeye TV News, I'm Bree Allenstein.
Picking a major for many can come with some anxiety. Often picking a major is associated with the next decade of our lives, but that isn't necessarily the case. Trinity Martin sat down with some academic advisors here at OSU to get their take on it.
Picking a major can lead to lots of pressure and anxiety for most of us. It's almost like picking the next 10 years of our lives, yet we have no idea what we want to do with them. I sat down with 2 academic advisors on University Exploration Program to talk about this very topic. So let's talk about the anxiety that comes with picking a major. As a counselor, do you get a lot of students that have anxiety and concerns about picking a major?
So there's a lot of anxiety circling around, oftentimes less about interest and more about making the right call and feeling like whatever decision is made today about my major is going to impact the rest of my life irrevocably, so to speak. So a lot of pressure on making the right call.
So when you do get a student that has anxiety, how do you help them deal with it? How do you help them work through it?
Put the decision in perspective as far as, yes, this is a big decision, but it is not like a make or break decision for how the rest of your life is going to go.
So what are the rough numbers of students actually going into the degree that they chose and students going a different way?
Only 25% of students are doing something directly related to their major, so 75% are not. And if you think about it, it makes sense just given the sheer number of jobs that are available in the world relative to the number of majors. I mean, even Ohio State has 200 majors, but you're not going to necessarily have that relate specifically to a career.
So all in all, picking a major does come with pressures and anxiety, but it doesn't dictate the rest of our lives. The academic advisors here at OSU are happy to help and fully equipped to help guide us in the right direction. I'm Trinity Martin reporting for BuckeyeTV 19.
Last week's weather finally hinted that winter's cloudy residence is in the past. Although we're seeing cooler weather this week in the low 60s, spring is here to stay. With more sunlight per day, students have an opportunity to take advantage of outside activities and catch a breath of fresh air after a harsh winter indoors. Remember to be respectful and continue social distancing even outside. Off-campus students often need accommodations of some kind in order to eat, but for one off-campus fraternity, they go outside the box. Vincent Lucarelli has the story.
During a pandemic that has been rife with unemployment, the idea of work for food has taken on a new meaning and importance. I'm here at the Ohio State Evans Scholar House, where one student is taking this idea to a whole new level. Located at Ohio State since 1962, the Evans Scholars are a co-ed fraternity of golf caddies, winning near full ride scholarship for their work on the course. Collier Smith is one of about 90 current members of the chapter. Since the chapter building does not include a kitchen, he's one of about half of those members who take advantage of a special privilege, being able to work in the kitchen of one of the sororities in the off-campus area as an employee, partaking in the food that the university chef provides for those members as a benefit to that work.
So my dad was actually an Evans Scholar as well, and he had a similar situation with the meal job, so I knew that might be a possibility for me, but if that didn't work out for whatever reason, I was prepared to have to pay thousands of dollars for a meal plan and, eat university food all the time.
With the help of his fellow scholars that also work at the Pi Beta Phi sorority, Smith does not need to work all that often, but is still able to take full advantage of the benefits that he is afforded.
So there are a bunch of us who work at that sorority, so we break down the shifts among ourselves. I only get like 2 or 3 shifts a week, but I can come in and eat a meal whenever I want, so that's really nice. On my typical shift, I'll do the dishes, I'll put leftovers in containers to be stored, take out the trash, wipe down the tables, and that's it really. The place I'm at right now, in my opinion, is the best one you could possibly get out of the system. So I'm really lucky to have that one, I guess.
This is Vincent Lucarelli for Buckeye TV News. Ohio State students and staff have now officially completed their 2 instructional breaks. Now the question remains, how did the small breaks fare in their eyes? Here's Jake Rice with the story.
It's officially been 1 year since the COVID-19 pandemic first hit Ohio State campus. And with that, I spoke with an Ohio State student to talk about the differences between last year and this year's spring break. Spring is here in Columbus. The flowers are blooming. Students are taking advantage of the oval. Baseball is back. And you can hear familiar sounds throughout campus. But some things are not so similar, especially the 5-day break that's absent from this semester. How were your instructional breaks?
My instructional breaks were not what I expected it to be. I'm a senior, and I always kept telling myself as an underclassman, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go do spring break when I'm 21, when I can actually, enjoy going to Florida, going wherever, Mexico, wherever people normally go.
Sam said there were noticeable differences between his breaks.
The first break was just mainly me trying to get myself mentally right.
But for his most recent break, Sam took a trip.
Because of COVID too, and how far away I live from campus, I just was never able to see my family, wasn't able to do anything. So coming home for a week that was my spring break.
Hopefully by next year, spring break will return to form. I'm Jake Rice with Buckeye TV.
Coming up, how did the NCAA cause a scandal during this year's March Madness tournament? Stay tuned to learn more after the break.